Hello, and welcome back to In God We Trust podcast. In this podcast, we read a chapter of the Bible every weekday. God says, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God." Matthew 4:4. God is telling us we need His word to live and grow. In this podcast, you'll be able to hear the word of God spoken to you while doing your daily tasks. I'll break down the chapters for you and talk about how we can apply God's word into our lives. With that, let's get right into it. Okay, so today we are reading James chapter 5 again, and this is patience in suffering. And what this is, it's about suffering before God comes back. So Jesus was here about 2,000 years ago, and before he left, he said, "I will be back." So we don't know that day, time, or hour, so we need to be patient and obey his law and do what he says before he comes, because we don't want to be caught lacking when he comes. Okay, let's get right into the reading. James chapter 5, Patience in Suffering. Be patient, then, brothers, until the Lord's coming. See how the farmer waits for the land to yield its valuable crop, and how patient he is for the autumn and spring rains. You, too, be patient and stand firm, because the Lord's coming is near. Don't grumble against each other, brothers, or you will be judged. The judge is standing at the door. Brothers, as an example of patience in the face of suffering, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord. As you know, we consider blessed to those who have persevered. You have heard of Job's perseverance, and have seen what the Lord finally brought about. The Lord is full of compassion and mercy. All above, my brothers, do not swear, not by heaven, or by earth, or by anything else. Let your yes be yes, and your no be no, or you will be condemned. Okay, so James starts out with saying, be patient like the farmer waiting for a crop and the autumn and spring rains. So, as the farmer waits for the rains and for the crop, we ought to wait for Jesus. And we ought to wait by doing what he says and obeying his laws, because we don't know the time or the place. So think about it. It's only been about 2,000 years. I think I just said this before. But that's really not that long ago at all. So, I mean, we don't know. It could be tomorrow. It could be tonight. So, he said he will be back soon. And we don't know at all. Could be in 5 minutes. Could be in 500 years. We don't know. So, are you right with God? Are you ready for him to come back? It's kind of a tough question, and I didn't mean to put some of you guys on the spot, but are you? If you need to question this question at all and stop and think, I think you need to switch your mind and your attitude and really know the answer to that question, because someday we're going to have to stand before God and answer for what we have done. So we need to be ready for that day. And by ready, we need to know God's love, and we need to understand what he has delivered to us, because there's forgiveness, and we need to show God that we understand his forgiveness. So we need to show it in forgiving others. So that is something we can do in our lives right now, is forgive others for what has happened. So, concluding that, if you are not right with God, I think it is time for you to change your life around and get right, because we don't know the time or the place, so the best time is now. Okay, let's continue on here. We're going to read verse 9 here. Don't grumble against each other, brothers, or you will be judged. The judge is standing at the door. Okay, so picture this. You're standing around talking smack about someone, and Jesus is like leaning up against the door or something, or he's just sitting there like this. I guess, sorry for the people listening on the actual podcast, just the audio. Anyway, so just imagine Jesus leaning up against the door and listening in on your conversation with someone else. So would you really want to be saying those things about others or just saying those things in front of Jesus or God himself? I really don't think so, because there's definitely not the best conversations going on. So you would feel pretty bad, but here's the thing. It's true. He's always with you, and he's always around you. He always hears you and knows your thoughts. So if you would feel bad if he was literally physically in front of you, then you should feel bad when he's not, when he is just around us. I like to imagine in Star Wars, I don't know what movie or what movie it is, but it's when Yoda and I think it's Anakin and like Obi-Wan, they're all like holograms standing around like looking down at someone. I like to imagine that that's what God is doing, and he's just like around us right now somewhere, like in a room. He's got to be somewhere. Like, you think he's like in, like leaning up against the door, or where is he? You know, is he like sitting right next to you? Like, we don't know, but I don't know. It's something to think about, I guess. Okay, so now let's talk about judging others. We should not judge others, because God will judge us the way we judge man. And by man, I always mean, well, not always, but I think you guys can catch up on the right context. Man is mankind I speak of, so that's male and female. So we should not judge other people, because God will judge us the way we judge others. So we should be very forgiving, and we should treat them the way we would treat our best friend, anyone, everyone. So we need to be very forgiving to others and forgive them, because if we do not forgive others, God will not forgive us for what we have done to him, because we are disobeying God, and if we're not asking for forgiveness, that's not really that cool. Because just imagine if you were if your best friend was treating you awfully, okay. Anyway, if they were treating you terrible and they just weren't saying anything like, "Oh, sorry, I've just been in a bad mood lately," or something, that's how we should be talking to God. We need to be having an open conversation. We don't need to be we can just talk to him like we would talk to our best friend, because he is our best friend. He is always there for you, and if you ever want to call upon his name, he is there. So just try that sometime. I guess we're just going to end it on that. Okay, I'm going to read verse 10 for you, and verse 10 is, "Brothers, as an example of patience in the face of suffering, take the prophets who spoke in the name of the Lord." So we live in we're very lucky. We live in a time where we can say whatever we want about God, and we will not be harmed. Maybe not in a physical, but we could be harmed mentally, I guess, them saying stuff about us, but who cares what people say about you, you know? But anyway, yeah, people back in the day would have to like hide, and they would have to like bow down to other people, and if they didn't, they'd be like killed. Like, we are very lucky to have the opportunity to have our own beliefs and our own religion. And if anyone is listening, I know there's listeners from not just the U.S., but I'm just going to take the U.S. as an example. We're very lucky for the freedom that we have here, the freedom of speech, and all the privileges that we have. And by privileges, I don't mean like white or black privilege. That's not really a thing, because everyone is equal. There's no actual, you can think whatever you want, but there's no actual privilege that is given to anyone in any situation. So, but anyway, we are all very lucky to live in a free country where I'm able to say these things. And yeah, okay, let's move on. Okay, so I'm going to read verse 12 for you guys, and here is what that is. "Above all, my brothers, do not swear, not by heaven, or by earth, or by anything else. Let your yes be yes, and your no, no, or you will be condemned." So when we have a conversation with someone, we don't have to say anything else. We can just say yes or no. But there's a time and a place for this, I think, I guess. But I guess right here it's saying let your yes be yes and your no be no. I think of when someone is coming at you and you're like in a tough situation, but there's situations where you can say some things, but normally it's not the best thing. But right here it's telling you let your yes be yes and your no be no. But I guess I can't really reword that because it is from the Bible, but I just like to picture it in like real life situations, I guess. Sorry. If you think I'm like switching up the words or anything. So I see this as when someone is coming after you and they're questioning you with something. And don't lose your temper. Just answer them a simple yes or no. So that's the way I see that type of thing right there. But yeah, just take away what you want from that. Okay. So it also says about the swearing, we are not to swear, and this is not, we should not swear by heaven or by earth, and we shouldn't use God's name in vain, ever, period. Any situation, we should never, ever say that. Okay. The one thing that we could really, really work on is this, swearing, because I hear it all the time. People say it. I say it sometimes too, even when I'm trying to stop it. Just something like spontaneous happens, and then it just like comes like out of natural instinct. I just like, Anyway, that's something that we all can work on, and I can work on for sure. So, yeah, that's about the swearing. Okay, well, the takeaway for the day is to have that patience in life and wait for God and obey his commands, because it will pay out in the backside. Trust me on this one, it will. So we need to keep our heart and mind on God. So thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please reach out on Instagram, Twitter, and yeah, just say whatever you want, okay? And you can also check us out on YouTube now if you're listening through just the audio portion. And if you're listening on YouTube, you can check us out on just the audio on Spotify, really like any platform you can listen to podcasts on. So yeah, just start looking up In God We Trust on things and you'll probably find it. Okay, well, thank you for listening. Have a nice day. God bless.